I have this thing that happens to me sometimes. I sit down to make a video and I have absolutely nothing. Like, I'll open a new document, type a title, and then just stare at it for 20 minutes. And the worst part is I know I consume so much content. I watch videos, I listen to music, I go to the movies, but somehow when it's time to actually make something, I just freeze. And I used to think this was a creativity problem, like maybe I'm just not creative enough, or I haven't lived enough, or I need to wait for inspiration to hit. But that's not actually what's happening. The real problem is I never learned how to take the things I consume and actually turn them into ideas. I was just passively watching stuff. So I started paying attention to how I watched things, and it completely changed where my ideas come from. This is how to never run out of good ideas. Okay, so ideas are everywhere. They're in the videos you watch, the music you listen to, even in the chair you're sitting on. I know that sounds a bit weird and cliche. You're surrounded by ideas. I know I am. I keep watching videos and I'm like, this looks so incredibly creative. How did this guy manage to do this? But here's what I realized. I was watching all this stuff and feeling inspired for like 10 minutes. And then it just disappeared. Nothing came out of it. And that's because there's an actual difference between consuming and actually stealing. Stealing means when you feel something, you actually stop and figure out why. You need to really understand why you like something. Look, when I started making videos, I was super bad, like super bad. But the only thing that actually helped me become better was to just analyze other people. There's no being original in art. To make an amazing piece, you have to constantly expose yourself to different things and to take what you like from each of the people you follow. You basically need to become an idea thief. And trust me, I know how hard it is to accept this reality that you have to steal ideas from other people, because it makes you feel like nothing you make is ever yours. But every artist out there has been influenced by someone, every one person. So what you need to do is watch the videos you like a ton of times. I'm talking about 5 times, and then actually going through everything and asking yourself why you liked it. If you do that, you'll find out that maybe you like a darker setting or less light or a cleaner composition, or you at least have a map of what you need to look out for to become better at making your own videos. But here's the problem with only stealing from videos. Most creators only look at other creators. So they steal from someone who stole from someone who stole from someone. And at that point, nobody even knows where the original idea came from. And that's why so much content looks identical. Like, you'll open YouTube and see the same thumbnail style, the same transitions, the same way of explaining things, just with a different face. I didn't want to become just anybody stealing ideas. So what I did was take an idea from a video I liked and then asked myself, okay, how does this fit into my style? And I started playing around with textures, fonts, and different editing styles. I basically turned it into a whole new concept. And this is probably one of the most important things you can do to have more ideas, because it allows you to constantly iterate. You also need to have a space where you collect these ideas. Whenever I see a video on Instagram, I add it to a saved bin for ideas. And then whenever I feel confused, I just take a look through it and then find my next video. There are moments where you're gonna feel inspired, and then there are gonna be moments where you cannot come up with anything. So I just use the Notes app on my phone to note down any idea at any time. Like, if I'm waking up randomly in the middle of the night and I have a crazy idea, I'm just gonna go grab my phone, write it down, and then I'm either gonna get up or go to bed. I know it's a bit weird, but trust me, this will make you have so many good ideas. Also, I like to sit on ideas for a bit. Like, I have so many ideas, but after a week, I look back at least 80% of them and I'm like, damn, this sucks. Because that's just how your creative brain works. You keep on having ideas, but not all of them are worth chasing. Whenever you have something really good, you just kind of know it. You feel it deep within you. That idea is actually golden. But you cannot get there unless you note down 100 bad ideas first. Coming up with ideas is incredibly easy, by the way. If you set up an hour to just write every idea that comes to mind, you'll have literally over 100. And I know this because what I would do was go to an IKEA, because I love the coffee there, and I would just come up with hundreds of ideas and then script them. Again, most of them were bad, but it only took me an hour, so I didn't really care about it because 20 were really good. If you research the videos in your niche, analyze what you like from the creators you follow, and set aside an hour or so to just write down every idea that comes to mind, you'll have so many ideas to choose from. But here's the thing I didn't figure out until way later. All of this only works if you're stealing from the right places. And most creators aren't. Okay, so different mediums equals more texture. But what does texture even mean? Like when I say texture in a video, I don't mean the literal texture of things on screen, although that's kind of part of it. I mean the feeling when you watch something and it just feels layered, like there's something more going on than you can explain. You can't put your finger on it, but the video just feels different from everything else you've watched that day. And I started noticing that the creators who had that weren't just watching YouTube. Like Gox, for example, his videos felt completely different from any other creator I've ever seen. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why. And eventually I realized it's because he comes from illustration and design. He is an artist. He's not pulling references from YouTube. He's pulling from a completely different world and bringing it into video. And that's why nobody can copy him properly. Because you'd have to also spend years in illustration and design to even understand where the references are coming from. That's the power of different mediums. So I started doing this myself. I started paying attention to the things outside of YouTube that interested me. Like I'm really into music, and music has this concept of negative space. The silence between the notes matter just as much as the actual notes themselves. The pause is the music sometimes. And when I brought that into editing, everything changed. I started leaving more room, more silence. Instead of filling every second with something happening, I just let moments breathe. I also love movies, so I started filmmaking, composition, lighting, leading lines, all of that stuff, and started implementing it. I thought about the composition, the empty space between the subject and the rest of the scene. I started playing around with key lights and practical lights, and it made my videos look a lot better because they looked like movies. Humans are a lot. You're never gonna meet a person that's only interested in like one thing. We're all interested in different mediums, and that's what makes you special. You're a combination of hobbies and thoughts, and that is unique. So you are kind of your own style. If you take an idea and then apply it to a different medium, you'll have something that is, well, different, obviously. So instead of stealing, you're kind of adapting. Like, think about the things you're into outside of content creation. Maybe you love a certain genre of music, or you're into fashion, or you watch a lot of documentaries, or you play video games with insane world building. All of that is raw material. Games like Red Dead Redemption or The Last of Us are obsessed with environmental storytelling, practically telling you everything you need to know about a character just through the world alone, without a single line of dialogue. You just look around you and you understand who that person is. Imagine bringing that into your videos. Instead of explaining who you are, your setup does. Like what you're seeing right now, I have a lot of stuff that define me as a person, and I don't have to say a word about it. You're telling the viewer something before you even open your mouth. That's texture, and it comes from stealing from the right places. So the next time you feel like you have no ideas, don't open YouTube, open something else. Put on a film you've never seen, walk around a part of your city you don't usually go to, or listen to a new song or album. And trust me, all of these things make you more complex, and they'll help you come up with even more ideas that otherwise would just not exist. Okay, so now you have a bunch of ideas. You're stealing properly, you're pulling from different places, but sometimes you have a starting point and it just feels thin. Like you can just see a video in there somewhere, but you can't quite grab it yet. And that used to make me feel like the idea wasn't actually worth it, which is such a bad waste because the idea wasn't bad. I just didn't know how to develop it. So there's this technique called Scamper. It's been around for literally years, but originally it was for product design. It's basically just a checklist of questions you ask about any idea to kind of transform it into something new. Let me actually show you with a real example, because just explaining what the letters stand for doesn't actually do anything. Okay, so let's say my idea is a video about how I improved my editing. It's alright, I guess, but it's also been done 100 times. So let's run it to Scamper. The first letter is S, substitute. What if we swap the subject entirely? Same structure, but a completely different world. How I improved at talking to the camera, or even how I improved at sleeping. You can just switch this with anything. Then you have C, combine. Like for example, what if I mashed it together with something unrelated? How improving my editing actually made me worse at something else. Like, I don't know, a worse creator or something. It sounds pretty wild. Then you have A, which I don't know if it actually stands for anything. Then you have M, which means modify. What if I made it way more extreme? Not how I improved, but how I went from the worst editor to getting hired in 60 days. Or just flip it and make it super tiny, you know, just you have a lot of freedom with this. Then you have R, reverse. What if I started with the end, open with the best thing you've ever made, and then go back and show exactly where you started? That's just 4 versions with one simple technique. And the crazy thing is you can apply this to anything. You can apply it to texture, you can apply it to actual handmade paper, newspapers, cardboard, you can apply it to music, to scripts. You're literally just mutating ideas into different versions in a few minutes. just if you answer those few questions. There are probably hundreds of videos online that explain this way better than I do, but that's what I've been doing for my own videos to get crazy effects and like super interesting ideas in general. But now ideas are really easy to come by, and I know it feels impossible sometimes to come up with even one good idea, but if you do all of these things, then trust me, your next video will not just be better, but it'll also be easier because all of this research and thinking is already done. If you like this video, then like it, and if you want to see more, then just subscribe, because I'm posting twice a week and I'm helping content creators make better videos. Everyone can become a content creator because it's a process like any other hobby. Anyway, I also post daily on Instagram, so you can follow me there at BravoOnFilm. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.